the New York Torpedo bats. It's been used across the league, but it's this kind of fake scandal that's going on right now. Are the Yankees cheating, or what's going on? Like, you'd think almost that these bats were made of some sort of vibranium. Not the case exactly. They are just they have an enlarged sweet spot or a barrel created by MIT physicist Aaron Leonhardt. Hopefully I'm getting that name exactly correct. And it certainly seems to be working. They were able to really kind of pounce on the Brewers in their opening series. I believe they had 5 runs against the Diamondbacks yesterday. So the main question comes to, is this changing the game? Is this here to stay? And I mean, are you kind of okay with it, I guess? I mean, certainly they're legal.
Yeah, I mean, they're legal until maybe the off season or in the middle of the season when Rob Manfred is finally like, this has been too much. I think that there's definitely a healthy sweet spot in between the fact that pitchers have been getting so good, even without the sticky stuff, being banned, like if not last year, the year before. I think it was last year, but like pitching has been still like pretty dominant, and like we haven't seen as many runs as maybe some fans would have wanted, and this is maybe just taking it the exact opposite direction. I think there was something like 36 runs put up by the Yankees in their first 3 games, and then 15 home runs. That's like absolutely absurd. It also caused the games to be a little bit longer. So I mean, there's give and take with that. From there, the game has been sped up because of the pitch clock, so maybe not as big of an issue. I personally don't mind them. I mean, I also have to say that because as a Miami Marlins fan, which I think, wait, give me 2 seconds.
There are other teams using these
Yeah.
bats. There are other players, at least. It seems like there's like a good chunk of the Yankees lineup. Not every Yankees player, right? There's only about 5.
It's 5 out of so the majority of their lineup, but 5.
And they're like general everyday lineup, right?
Yeah, Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm, Paul Goldschmidt, Anthony Volpe, and Austin Wells.
Yeah. But there are players around the league that are also using it. And at a certain point, it's not like I've seen like a connection or people making the connection to like juice. Like, right? Like using steroids at a certain time in Major League Baseball wasn't illegal. People were doing it. And it was like, maybe, I don't know, I wasn't really around for that type of time and, how upfront people were, even if it was legal. But they're kind of making that connection. And it just seems maybe it's a little bit off base because this is like completely legal to the point of like, I don't know if Manfred is going to step in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like mid-season. Maybe this is an off-season thing. But if other players are using it around the league and it's putting balls in play, I think outside of like maybe extending games, I would say, why not? Right? Because it's also your bat still can't be thicker than what they tell you is the restrictions. And this is just simply, I believe, at the max thickness that a bat can be like at one spot. So, yeah. Come on. It's just the word. It's just the
max
word. The bat,
bro.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I could get scientific, bro. So I have this article right up in front of me and said, why didn't anyone think of this before? It seems unclear. Leonhardt said, and he said he wondered the same thing. Baseball people don't think a lot about bat design.
The thing I was pointing out with the Marlins is that the guy who like invented this whole thing is currently like on the Marlins like staff or whatever. So they've said that
this
the
physicist.
Yeah, he's but he's a part of the Marlins organization in some capacity. I don't know exactly what his job is, but he's a part of the Marlins now. So they said that they're going to be experimenting with using these bats. I think the nature around the discourse around this has just been so funny because Elly De La Cruz in his first game using it goes 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. Everyone's like, oh, it's the end of the world. He goes 0 for 4 the next game. So there's definitely some give and take with it. I don't think it's like the craziest thing in the world, but definitely I think there will be a pretty positive correlation to the players that are using it and improve stats by the end of the season. So, and like you mentioned, the Yankees are like the most notorious for it because it's the Yankees, and then also they have 5 players using it. But there's been there's a couple other teams that like Adley Rutschman uses it on the Orioles, Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson use it on the Cubs. There's a bunch of people that are using it, and I think as the season progresses, it's going to be an increased amount just because of the fact that they do seem to be working really well for the players that are.
And it kind of just makes sense too with the way that it's designed. It's supposed to help the batters. So if you are a batter and it doesn't really like throw off your balance by having a bat that's just way different of a shape than what you've always been swinging for your entire life, I don't understand why they wouldn't keep moving to it. I also want to clarify Anthony Volpe used this Torpedo bat in 2024. Like he used it last season, like towards the very end. So this as you mentioned, this guy now works for the Marlins. If the Yankees knew of this, it's obviously still been around a little bit longer than just the opening series that we've seen. Now, the Yankees went crazy against the Brewers. What did you say it was? 39 home runs? Or not 39 home runs. Oh, my God. 39 runs or 36 runs?
I think 36.
Okay, yeah.
But
And they had they had one game with 20. But
yeah,
that's still a pretty crazy like average to the first part of the season. But I don't know if they're going to average that many runs throughout the entire year, right? Like I would doubt it. They'd be the greatest offense in the history of baseball.
yeah, pretty easily too. The only thing about using Anthony Volpe as the basis of this is probably the reason why people weren't using it more last season. It's because he's not very good at baseball. Quite frankly, like I don't. It's not like the craziest take in the world. He had 12 home runs last year, which isn't terrible, but he played in 160 games. This to start the season, he's batting below the Miranda line, which is plus at batting under 200. So he's batting 188 even with a torpedo bat. So I think that could be it, which he still has 3 home runs. So it definitely may be a correlation between power and using the bat because that's tied 4th in the league right now. So, but again, he is not hitting for average very well. So I mean, that's probably why the correlation wasn't made a little bit sooner because it was Anthony Volpe and they were just trying to get anything to work for him. But I think that there's definitely going to be an adjustment. And what you were saying, if batters can get comfortable with this, I think there's no reason for them not to, because it feels like there's got to be a distinct advantage to put in more wood at the barrel of the bat. Sorry.
I'm not a Yankees fan, but is there kind of part of this also where it's
Yes.
like people just hate the Yankees too?
Yes.
The part of the discourse that I think is so played out is this cheating or are the Yankees cheating? It's like, well, clearly not. Like
Because
they're not even really like bending the rules. It's just nobody just thought of it. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like like if they end up outlawing it, it's like all right, whatever. They got too smart for the game. There's been plenty of smart individuals in the history of baseball that have certainly like, if you want to say bent the rules, have done just that. They made a whole movie about it essentially with roster construction. It's called Moneyball. Like it's just been like that. And I'm not really here for it. And I think part of it is like when you're saying if a team is cheating or not, it's like, okay, you don't like the Patriots. You don't like the Yankees. I mean,
I was halfway
neither
expecting
do I really.
a Pete Rose reference there, betting on his games, but I was waiting for it. Too smart.
He was only betting on his team to win, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. I would too.
Until you get too far in the hole, till you're under 500, and you only got a couple more games left in the year.
I think that's the point where you just tell your team to sell the game and put like $100,000 on the other team.
That's definitely shoot. I mean, that's definitely what they were thinking. It was bound to happen at a certain point. I mean, it's also like, hey, like, if you sell this, I can give you some of the money too.
Yeah, right. Split between the players. You just all get banned.
Sounds like we're talking about which White Sox team was it? I don't know. Through a World Series way back in the day. They made a movie about that as well. There's been a lot of different things in baseball, a lot of cheating, a lot of scandals, a lot of steroids. The Torpedo Bats, probably not that big of a deal.